Chapter 1. A Whisper in the Dark. In 1982, Cindy James, a 37-year-old nurse from Richmond, British Columbia, began reporting terrifying incidents, harassing phone calls in the middle of the night, threatening notes left on her doorstep, her porch lights smashed. She told police that someone was watching her, following her, trying to harm her. But there were no witnesses, no fingerprints, no suspects. Cindy had recently divorced a prominent psychiatrist, Dr. Roy Makepeace. The separation was said to be civil, but police privately suspected emotional baggage. As the reports continued, many began to doubt her. Friends and family were divided. Some believed her. Others thought she was succumbing to mental illness. But the threats escalated. She was found with nylon stockings tied around her neck on multiple occasions. One time, her hands were tied and she was hiding in a ditch, unable to explain how she got there. Cindy claimed she had been drugged. Investigators remained skeptical. Was she orchestrating these events herself, or was something more sinister unfolding? Chapter 2. A Pattern of Fear. Between 1982 and 1989, Cindy reported over 100 incidents to police. She moved houses, changed her name, even hired private investigators. She adopted a dog for protection. Nothing worked. The phone calls persisted, now laced with horrifying whispers and death threats. Her tires were slashed, her house set on fire. Twice. Despite extensive surveillance and wiretaps, the stalker was never caught. In some cases, police believed Cindy could not have committed the acts herself due to timing and physical evidence. But in others, inconsistencies made them question her credibility. Her mental health began to deteriorate. She was hospitalized after apparent suicide attempts, but continued to insist that she was being targeted by someone who wanted her dead. Private investigator Ozzy Caban believed her. He once found her semi-conscious in her garage, hands and feet bound. She had been injected with an unknown substance, but tests found no trace of drugs. It was as if the attacker knew exactly how to leave no trail. Or was it all a cry for help? The line between victim and unreliable narrator grew ever thinner. Chapter 3. Escalation and Isolation. By 1988, Cindy's life was in shambles. She had quit her job, withdrawn from friends, and was consumed by fear. Her parents remained supportive, but even they struggled to understand what was happening. Her ex-husband, Dr. Makepeace, was questioned repeatedly, but never charged. Police began treating her as a disturbed woman seeking attention. They pressured her to admit she was behind the incidents. Cindy refused. Her diaries, however, painted a picture of mental instability. She wrote about voices, about being watched, about dying. She feared the police and feared being labeled insane. Despite her emotional state, Cindy continued to document each attack in chilling detail. Her apartment was ransacked, her cat found dead. Fire crews responded to another blaze where the fire had started from inside the house, and she had been locked in. Still, investigators found no definitive proof of an outside perpetrator. She was prescribed antipsychotics. Friends said she looked hollow, like a ghost. Chapter 4. The Disappearance. On May 25, 1989, Cindy disappeared. Her car was found in a shopping mall parking lot. In it were groceries, a wrapped gift, and bloodstains. Nearby, witnesses said they saw a man pacing. 2 weeks later, her body was discovered in a nearby yard. Her hands and feet were bound behind her back with intricate knots. A black nylon stocking was tied tightly around her neck. She had needle marks on her arm and had been injected with morphine and other sedatives, at levels that would have rendered her unconscious in minutes. The coroner called the death undetermined. Police leaned toward suicide, despite the nearly impossible logistics of her binding herself after injecting a lethal cocktail. Family and friends rejected the idea outright. Who ties themselves up, drugs themselves, and dies slowly in a remote yard? And why? Her death scene, like her life, was a puzzle. Too clean. Too deliberate. If it was murder, it was executed with chilling calculation. If it was suicide, It was one of the most complex ever documented. Chapter 5. Doubt and Theories. To this day, Cindy's case remains one of Canada's most confounding mysteries. Some experts believe she suffered from dissociative identity disorder or a severe psychosis. Others maintain she was genuinely stalked, possibly by someone close to her. Suspicion lingered on her ex-husband, but no hard evidence ever surfaced. The media dubbed her the woman who cried wolf. But those who knew her described a kind, fragile woman torn between fear and desperation. Her private writings spoke of death and darkness, but also of hope that someone would believe her. The sheer number of incidents, combined with physical evidence like bindings and drugs, remain difficult to explain. Conspiracy theories abound. Some claim she was a victim of a calculated long-term psychological attack. Others argue she orchestrated it all as a prolonged cry for help. The truth may lie somewhere in between. Perhaps Cindy was both. A woman slipping into mental illness, and a victim of someone who knew how to exploit it. Chapter 6. Legacy of Silence. More than 3 decades later, Cindy James's case is still open, officially classified as undetermined. Her death spawned books, documentaries, and debates in criminal psychology circles. It is taught in law enforcement courses as an example of investigative ambiguity. Her parents died without ever knowing what happened to their daughter. Investigators retired, baffled. New eyes have reviewed the case over the years, each coming to different conclusions. There was no farewell note, no clear answers. Only a woman's long, slow descent into fear, and a death as confusing as the life that preceded it. Whether Cindy was murdered, died by suicide, or something else entirely, one fact remains. She asked for help for 7 years, and in the end, help never came. In the silence that follows, her story stands as a chilling reminder. Sometimes, the truth is the one thing we never find. Chapter 7. The Forgotten Evidence. Some argue that crucial evidence was ignored or lost. A second set of footprints found near Cindy's final location was never matched. The phone calls she received were recorded, but police claimed they couldn't trace them. Friends say Cindy once told them the attacker had keys to her house. She even changed locks multiple times to no avail. One neighbor claimed to have seen a man lurking near Cindy's property days before she vanished, but police dismissed it as irrelevant. Others insist that her stalker may have had law enforcement knowledge, explaining how they avoided detection. The longer the case remained unsolved, the more these small details seemed to matter. Each could point to a missed chance to stop a murder, or to the tragic spiral of a woman who simply couldn't escape her own mind. What about the phone records? Were they analyzed thoroughly? Cindy had reported several calls coming from unlisted numbers, always late at night. One came seconds after the police had left her home. No one could explain how the caller knew. Her medical reports also contained inconsistencies. Unexplained bruises, puncture marks with no viable cause, and signs of psychological trauma dating back further than the harassment began. All of it begs the same question. Did the system fail her? Or did we simply never understand the story she was trying to tell?